So my parents came to this country from India in 1970, and they were really happy to be in America, but there were certain American traditions that they didn't believe in, like freedom. That was number one. My sisters and I were allowed to have no freedom whatsoever. While democracy raged outside of our apartment, inside of our home, it was India, circa 1950. My father was the dictator, his word, law, his opinion, the absolute truth. And he gave each one of his 3 daughters our very own special complex. Shanti, you are brilliant. You are the Albert Einstein of the family. So smart, yet you're a total moron when it comes to social situations. No charm whatsoever. Indu, you are the sweetest, kindest person, but completely useless. I couldn't trust you to boil an egg. And Vijay, my pretty baby with the most beautiful long black hair, so pretty, but totally dumb. I guess you'll never be a brain surgeon, but maybe one day you'll marry one. My sisters and I were like Charlie's Angels with really low self-esteem. But we were forbidden from cutting our hair. That was a very, very big rule in our family. My mom was very clear about it. She was like, Indian men only want 3 things from wife, okay? First, long, properly braided hair. 2, good chicken curry. 3, I'll tell you after you get married. And my father simply said, if you cut your hair, I'll kill you. So I took my hair very seriously because, well, I had the best hair in my entire family. Some might say I had the best hair of all the Indians in Maryland. Frankly, I had the best hair of all the Indians in the world. One day when I was 5 years old, we went to one of the most sacred temples in South India, Tirupati. And during this long, winding car ride up the side of a mountain, my sister, middle sister Indu, kept looking at my 2 long braids and saying, gosh, Vijay, your hair is so pretty. I'm really gonna miss it. I had no idea what she was talking about until we pulled up to the gates of the temple. And out of those gates, I saw streaming hundreds of bald men, women, and children. So apparently every true Hindu comes to this temple at least once in his or her life, shaving his head in honor of Lord Vishnu, stripping himself of all vanity and pride in front of God. Now, my sisters had been born in India, and they had their heads shaved before they ever came to America. But I was born here, and no sharp object had ever been near my head. When I realized the plan, I did what any other 5-year-old would do. I screamed and I locked myself in the car. My sister Indu was on one side doing cutting motions with her fingers. My mom was on the other side begging me to come out. Finally, she gave me a bowl of mango ice cream, and I came out, and she simply plucked 1 strand of hair from my head and said, as an offering, and said, your hair is too beautiful and would serve Vishnu much better if it stayed right on your head. So I thought my hair was a blessing, divine, in fact, until the 3rd grade. That's when I was the new kid at my elementary school, and I met Jill Green, the richest and meanest girl in 3rd grade. Now, Jill's first day of school outfit was Calvin Klein jeans, a pink Ralph Lauren polo with the collar popped up. She had on matching pink Keds, and her hair was glamorously like feathered and winged out to here. And she wore Bonnie Bell lip gloss. She looked like she had just stepped off the cover of 17 magazine. This was 3rd grade. My first day of school outfit was a yellow baby doll dress with Winnie the Pooh on the lapel. And it was old. I got it from my sister, who was 10 years older than me. But after school that first day, Jill and her crew rolled up on me as I was walking home, and she was all, so, Vijay, what are you? I'm Indian. Wow, is that like an Apache? Can you do a rain dance? And I'm like, well, no, I'm not that kind of Indian, and I'm actually a really bad dancer. Whatever, Pocahontas. Gosh, your hair is so long, I bet it falls in the toilet when you poop. And from that moment on, my new nickname at my new elementary school was Pocahontas Poophead. And suddenly I was thinking, I really need to cut my hair. But my parents wouldn't hear of it. I would complain to them and I would just beg them and tell them of all the mean things the kids were saying at school, but my parents wouldn't listen. My dad was just like, Vijay, your hair is beautiful. They're just Americans. They don't know. Well, that never cheered me up, but my birthday always cheered me up. And for two reasons. The first reason was I was allowed to get a new outfit. And for my 12th birthday, I got this amazing glittery purple dress with the word pizzas on it. Because we were going to Chuck E. Cheese, and yeah, we'd be eating some pizzas. When I came home and modeled it for my sister, Indu, she said, you dum-dum, it says pizzazz. The other reason I loved my birthday was because it was the one day of the year that my mom didn't force my hair into those two long, nerdy Pocahontas braids, and she let me wear my hair out. My hair was long and flowing. I was a preteen Indian goddess. I knew that I looked hot. I sauntered into Chuck E. Cheese, and I invited all the popular girls from my class. They weren't really my friends, but they would add a certain cachet to the event. I invited them all except for Jill. Then I sauntered into Chuck E. Cheese. I played a little Miss Pac-Man, shot some skeet ball, ate some pizza. Then I zoned in on this kiddie ride. It was a Ferris wheel for one. It was just a seat that would rotate up and down. That's all it did. But I couldn't resist the pull of this wheel, so I put my token in and I squeezed my pizza-loving buns into that seat. And the ride would go up and I could see all of Chuck E. Cheese, and it would come down, my clogs would hit the floor, and then it would go up again and I could hear the buzz of arcade games and children laughing, and I could smell that cheese pizza. And suddenly I felt a tug on my hair. And I looked down and I saw that my hair was starting to get sucked into the center of the wheel. I tried to pull myself out, but it was just getting closer and closer. And finally, I just said, hey, can somebody help me? And this kid who had been playing Space Invaders came over and he pulled the plug. Now I was trapped like a rat in this ride. And at this point, my entire birthday party had surrounded me. Every other birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese had surrounded me. And the room was completely silent, except for my mother. And my father, he is an electrical engineer by trade, so he comes up and he circles me a few times, inspecting all the gears and the mechanisms, and finally says, look guys, I think if we turn her head the other way around, her head will just pop right out. But I couldn't take the humiliation anymore, and I said, Daddy, please just get me out. So he took a pair of scissors and he cut me free. So now half of my hair is cut in rough chunks around my shoulders, and the other half is still long, still well past my butt. And I realize that I'm being punished. I should have shaved my head for Vishnu all those years ago. I should have listened to my mom and braided my hair and tried not to be something that I wasn't. But the next day, we went to a place that no one in my family had ever been to before, the hair cuttery. My fate was left in the hands of our stylist, Jesus, and while he was surveying the damage done to my hair, my mom comes up and says, excuse me, Jesus, could you try to preserve the length of her hair? And I'm thinking, how the heck is he going to do that? Half of my hair is gone. But believe it or not, Jesus performed a miracle. And in the front, he gave me bangs and feathers and giant wings. And in the back, he left a long, velvety highway of hair. And through Jesus, I was born again. Thank you.
Give it up for